Hi guys, Jessica Beck here with IELTS Energy TV. Today, Aubrey and I are going to share 4 Band 9 IELTS adjectives that you can use on every speaking exam, guys. And in fact, these are formal enough for writing as well. Guys, these adjectives are used to describe trends and choices and preferences. So obviously, they are general enough for every IELTS exam, guys. So listen up and write down all of these vocabulary words. And remember, go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz. Take a free quiz we made just for you. allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz. All right, let's get to the show. Good morning, my friend Aubrey. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? I had the best weekend. This is really silly, but I got really into indoor plants. I found a bunch of indoor plants on clearance at a store.
Yes.
And planted them all, and just the air feels cleaner in my home now.
I love that so much. It's true. I love plants. My balcony is full of plants. You know what? I am going to move this camera.
Yes, I want to see them.
Okay, guys, this is on YouTube as well. I have this whole corner of my home that is dedicated to plants because they all have to be in the sun. That's why indoor plants are tricky, trying to find the right place so they still get sunlight.
Exactly.
Anyway,
you can't see them from here, but they're in that room right there in the corner. So there's plenty of sunlight. I always kill indoor plants, but I'm really hopeful that this will be a good sunny spot for them.
Yes, I love it. Makes such a difference to your mood. Just to have, it's so important. This is a very unique recent hobby one can talk about on the IELTS exam. That's what we're getting into today, guys. Very impressive adjectives to describe hobbies and trends. And you know what? This vocab is applicable to so many IELTS topics, you guys. So we're going to give you the vocab and also some example IELTS questions you guys should practice using this vocab to answer. But a couple things before we get to that vocabulary, guys. I want to remind you that we do record video for these podcasts and put the whole thing on our YouTube channel, IELTS Energy TV. So that's why if you're just listening on the podcast, you're like, what plants? Why are they talking about moving a camera? Because this is on YouTube, guys. So go onto YouTube and see our awesome plants. My favorite is this little cactus that someone got me as a housewarming present 3 years ago. It's a sunshine cactus. It has this whole yellow ball at the top, and cacti grow very slowly. And one of our, James and I love noticing that it's getting bigger, and it's just it's a long-term satisfaction having indoor plants.
Well, and the best thing about a succulent, like a cactus.
Oh, nice vocab. Yes.
Because we have so many succulents here in Arizona.
You have to. It's so dry. Yeah.
Because they're so dry and they really thrive and they're a lot easier to keep alive. So that's what I've only had succulents in the past, but I'm finally trying my hand at non-succulent plants. So I'm very hopeful. They're so pretty and green and leafy.
Here's my number one tip for indoor plants. Okay, Aubrey, because I have killed my fair share.
I need the tips.
Before you water them, just stick your finger in the soil. And if you don't feel any moisture, then it needs water.
Yes, that's what I've read, because overwatering is the biggest problem, right?
Yes,
they get root rot. And I was reading about bottom watering. Do you do that? Where you just set it in a bowl of water and it pulls water from the bottom instead of at the top. So I'm going to try that. Yeah.
Good tip. Here on Gardening and IELTS, we love to share our knowledge with you guys. Okay, and then the second thing I want to remind you guys about, besides IELTS Energy TV on YouTube, is the web class coming up. It is very soon, you guys. You gotta grab your spot there. It is going to fill up this time for sure. Come hang out with Lindsay and Michelle live. It's so amazing. 3 reasons you can't understand native conversations. I'll just say I created this web class, guys. I put some amazing vocab in there, strategies for listening and pronunciation. So sign up, guys, allearsenglish.com/understand. All right, sweet. So we have some great vocab. The first word is mainstream. So mainstream is a fantastic adjective. It is unique to students. I don't hear students using this. What does mainstream describe?
Yeah, I just had a conversation with my daughter about this. My 13-year-old came in and said, "What does mainstream mean?" And she had heard someone use this word to describe music on the radio, which is an ideal example, right? Because this is sort of the common music that everyone's listening to, everyone's aware of it because it's on the radio. You hear it everywhere. Mainstream, meaning it's in the mainstream of awareness of the society. So you can describe anything, right? Fashion, trends, music, food. If something is mainstream, most people will be aware of it.
Yeah, and not just aware of it, but like engaged in it, totally, right? Yes. So it's like mainstream is just like most people do this. Not like most, not like, 99% or whatever.
The average person.
Right? Yeah. So but okay. I like following this idea because to me, for example, mainstream has a negative connotation because growing up, I always felt different. I never felt like the normal fit in with everybody kid. And so that made me sort of detest mainstream, right? Because it's cool to not be mainstream. You know what I mean?
Like so if someone calls you mainstream, it's like a criticism.
Totally. Yeah.
So like mainstream.
Oh my gosh. But mainstream doesn't have to be bad. That's just my connotation of it. So whenever you're describing food trends, fashion trends, shopping trends, exercise trends, anything, any of these popular trends in your country, among your friends, whatever, you can use this adjective mainstream. And it's up to you to put context around that, whether you think it's good or not. Right?
Exactly. If you're asked about music, you could say, I know this is pretty mainstream, but I love Taylor Swift, right? Someone that most people will have heard of. And then you defend, totally. Like, why do you love it anyway, even though it's pretty mainstream?
I like combining this with the phrase guilty little secret. So it's like, or guilty pleasure. So, right, of like, yes. you don't want to be mainstream, but you still like some mainstream stuff. Like my guilty mainstream pleasure is I shop at Costco and I'm obsessed with Costco and I love it so much. And talk about like mainstream. That's it. That's suburban America right there.
Right. You and every soccer mom.
Oh my God, I'm a soccer mom. Okay. Conventional is the next word. Very similar to mainstream, except mainstream is more like this can be trendy. This can be a new trend. It's current. Conventional is like, this has always been mainstream. Conventional is like, this is the traditional, normal, accepted way we do things. So again, applicable to so many topics. Everything you could describe as mainstream, right? If it has been that way for a long time, then you could also describe it as conventional. Does that description make sense to you?
Yeah, for sure. And that I think that's a really good way of explaining it, right? That trends and things that change really often can be mainstream just because they're currently popular, but something that is conventional has been known or popular for a long time.
Totally.
So if you're talking about a hobby, for example, and you want to talk about playing the piano, this would be a great thing to describe as a conventional hobby because it's been around for so long, right? People were playing the piano forte way back in like Jane Austen's era.
I feel like if it's something that was mainstream for your parents and it still is for you, that qualifies as conventional. You know, sure. Like, I feel like let's put a rule on that. We also often match this word with wisdom. Conventional wisdom is a phrase that we like to use. So IELTS does ask you about your relationships with older people, or describe an older person in your family, or traditional beliefs in your culture, right? So I would say, like, let's talk about food beliefs or health trends, right? We could say, well, Conventional wisdom says that every meal must have three parts: protein, starch, and vegetables. However, I think it's more mainstream today, especially among very health conscious individuals, to eliminate the starch and try to subsist on protein and vegetables.
Ooh,
Something I'm
nice.
trying.
So good. I love it. Right. So yeah, just to use that phrase together, conventional wisdom. And this just means any knowledge that's generally accepted as wise, right?
Totally.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? If you get asked that question, why is breakfast the most important?
And that is an IELTS question.
And yes, I've seen that one. And that would be great to say, yeah, that is conventional wisdom, but I actually disagree because I do intermittent fasting. So I skip breakfast, right? And you can share how that might be conventional wisdom, but you disagree.
I like the idea of planting this in our listeners' heads, that anytime you introduce something as mainstream or conventional, to always follow it up with a contrasting idea, right? To be like, well, this is mainstream, but, or this is conventional wisdom might say, blah, blah, blah. However, I am of the opinion. What a great high level way to extend your ideas, to add new information, and to work in amazing vocab.
Yes, okay. An interesting intonation, right? Because when you provide that contrast, you're like, however, and your voice is going to have that great intonation. So it lends to that, helps you do that.
Yes. And remember, slow down during that transition. Emphasize that transition. Give it space for the intonation and the stress, right? However, like really dig in, guys. That's how you get a 7 or higher for pronunciation. Give your words room to breathe. All right. Now we have two adjectives that are the opposite, right? Describing different sort of trends and preferences and hobbies. So eclectic. What a fun word. It's fun to say. Eclectic.
It's so fun to say. And it's very, it's kind of highbrow, which means like, it's like, not everybody uses it. You feel sort of posh and fancy when you talk about something being eclectic or how your tastes are eclectic. So this just means you're interested in lots of different things. If you have eclectic tastes in music, for example, that might mean you like pop and country and rap. You're not stuck in one genre because your tastes are eclectic.
Yeah, totally. There's a phrase that I hear IELTS candidates say all the time, which means it's a band 6, which is starting their answer with, well, it depends. I don't know why that is such a common thing to say, but that maybe that's like taught in textbooks, that this is a great way to start your answer. You know what? Everybody starts their answer with that. Because if you're like, well, there's a lot of different ways I could answer this. Don't say it depends, because that's normal. That's boring. Say, well, my tastes are eclectic as far as music is concerned, as far as food is concerned, as far as exercise is concerned, clothes are concerned. Like you could use that for anything because like nobody likes just one of something, right? So you could use this on any IELTS exam on your speaking test for sure. Okay. The last adjective, diverse. Now, this is really a hot word. This is a hot word. Everybody loves to talk about diversity, and as well they should. We need to talk about diversity. But in this case, guys, the adjective diverse, I don't hear students use this. I do hear people say diversity because that's becoming more common, but the adjective diverse, this will make you stand out. So similar to eclectic, diverse just means a lot of different things. So again, use it the same way as eclectic, right? My tastes are diverse. I like a diverse array of music, art, food, clothes, whatever. So guys, you could see that these 4 words are so useful. You could use these 4 words, all 4 words on any speaking test.
Yes, exactly. Because think of the topics we've been bringing up, right? Food, fashion, hobbies. These topics are almost guaranteed to come up on your IELTS exam. So you can plan on fitting these words in when you're giving answers about that. So for example, part 1, you might be asked, what do you do in your free time? Or what's your favorite hobby? Definitely, instead of thinking, I only have to share one hobby, right? You could say, my favorite hobby is playing the guitar, but honestly, My tastes are quite diverse, and I play 3 different musical instruments.
I love it. Such good examples. Guys, we have given you amazing phrases and examples for these words, all 4 of these words today. I think you should really listen to this episode or watch this episode a few times, guys. Don't just write down the individual words, okay? Write them down in the sentences we gave you. Memorize the context. Right? Conventional wisdom, diverse tastes, like memorize these connected phrases, guys. And that way you are more assured of using them correctly on test day. And you'll remember them better, right? Because you'll have a context, you'll have a sentence you could use them in. So definitely write these words down in the whole sentence that we gave you today, guys. Okay, fantastic. Guys, remember, Lindsay and Michelle are doing that web class very, very soon, September 18th and 21st, I believe. Oh gosh, I should have checked.
You guys
18th and 21st. Because the 21st is my mom's birthday, so it's stuck in my head.
Nice.
Anyway, sign up, guys, allearsenglish.com/understand. Don't miss it. It is not an IELTS web class, but that doesn't mean it won't help you. It helps your English. And IELTS is an English test. So sign up, allearsenglish.com/understand. All right, sweet. This is fun. I love vocabulary.
I know, they're the best episodes. It's so fun to share interesting related words. And now I'm excited to hear students use them in personal coach classes. You guys are going to use them. Practice using them with your practice answers so that you're comfortable with them on test day.
Yeah, come back to YouTube and share one of your example sentences with one of the words, guys, or all of the words, you know?
Right.
You do you, everyone. Okay, we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.